Good evening. Welcome to all our visitors. Wow, what a full house. Welcome to the regular meeting of September the 5th, 2023. As we gather today, I would like to acknowledge on behalf of this committee and our community that we are meeting on the traditional territory of the Algonquin people. We would like to thank the Algonquin people and express our respect and support for their rich history. And we are extremely grateful for their many and continued displays of friendship. We also thank all the generations of people who have taken care of this land for thousands of years. If you would, please join me in a moment of silent reflection. Thank you. Just a few notes that I have. Activities of the past 3 weeks. I had attended the Irish Gathering, which was an outstanding event. The attendance on Friday and Saturday was really good. Saturday was exceptional. Friday, the people stayed during the rain, which was incredible. On Saturday, the people stayed all day. Very few people left the grounds, which was unbelievable. The event was choreographed perfect. The layout was just absolutely fantastic. The entertainment was outstanding. The parade, there were so many people lined up to watch the parade. It was fantastic. The market, which occurred on Lake Street, was held without a hitch, as far as I know. People responded and ventured down that street to go to the market, which was outstanding. The kids area was fantastic. There was people playing there all the time. The curling device was set up, and there was a lot of activity, and plus the ice cream machine was down there too, so it had great attraction. The beer garden, in my estimation, it worked out perfect. It went on without a hiccup, and the two groups worked well together, and there was no problems. One thing that brought a smile to my face was how all our partners, our business community, our partners of every walk of way, they worked so well together to put this event on. And it was truly a fantastic event. And for the people that were involved 10 years to see where it's come to now, wow, it's fantastic. Special thank you to Chris and his committee for an outstanding job. Well done. Thank you, Chris. He was supposed to be here, but he's not. I attended the AMO conference. There was a couple of major announcements that occurred. The first one was MPAC. We will be the evaluation date of January 1st, 2016 through to the end of the 2024 taxation year, which means MPAC will not be increasing. I think everyone received that memo. Yes. The other announcement was Election Ontario will take over the voters list starting January the 1st, 2024. So in other words, MPAC will no longer have anything to do with the voters list, but they will start putting that list together January the 1st, 2024. Of course, housing was a major issue that's brought up at every available meeting there is with homelessness and attainable housing, affordable housing. So that was a big thing. The other item that came up was nuclear waste, and that involved using our highways, county roads. It's convenient that you guys are here today, that the nuclear waste is being transported on our roads. And one of the questions that I had was that are our firefighters, volunteer fire department, trained in case there was an accident involving one of those transports? And I'm not sure if our department is or not, but maybe it's something that we need to look at if it isn't. The other item that came up, which I thought was really interesting, I know we've we gave Tammy permission to proceed with the cybersecurity insurance. Just to give you a little more information, there was two southwestern towns that were at the conference and held court, and they were locked down for 8 days. And during those 8 days, it cost them $1.3 million. That was their cost. And in addition to that, the ransom. So it is very costly. There was a lot of discussion what they went actually through during those 8 days. And their feeling was when they started off, there was no one to help them. They were like a person on a deserted island. It was not a good feeling. One of the things they stressed was, now that we have an insurance, to find out for our state, and Tammy, this falls under you, know who the experts are. Who can we rely on if this ever does happen? And one thing that they made very specific, what you need as in your insurance is something called specific cyber incident plan, which I'm going to leave that up to Tammy to investigate that, and hopefully you can get back to us with that. And the phrase that stuck in my mind during their presentation was, and they use this phrase a lot, not if, but when it's going to happen to us. I think that's very important. So that was for that. County Council this past week, and one of the highlights of it was the radio fire dispatch system, which was put in place, and the cost of that was $360,000, and that will be split by a weighted vote. So that's very important to know that. A couple of reminders. I don't usually take this long, sorry. A couple of reminders. Don't forget the Lions Club celebration is this weekend. And also the Friendship Club, a reminder, it's in 2 weeks. So hopefully everyone has that on their calendar. Just a reminder, you received through email something called a developmental charge. It's a pretty big package. Please look through, and if you have any concerns, let Tammy know by September the 8th. Okay. Very good. Does any member of council have any pecuniary or financial interest to declare? Haven't seen none. I guess it's time to welcome our delegation, Mr. Perkins and his group. Sure.
So I'm Lee Perkins. I'm the Director of Public Works and Engineering for the County of Rainford. As you can tell from my accent, I'm very Irish. Thanks. So I can't believe I missed Irish Day up here. And you said there was a beer tent with Irish people and it went well. So that's a good thing. And also I've got Taylor Grant in the blue shirt. He's our manager of capital projects, and CAO Kelly is with me, and our chair, Glenn Doncaster, for chair of operations. So I understand it's going to be a question and answer. Go ahead.
Well, the council has asked for you and Taylor to be here. Surprisingly, Glenn and Greg are here also. I'm not sure if they're worried that you can't handle the questions, but actually I was anticipating you coming with white and yellow paint with a sign to go on the road, but that didn't happen. So, but anyways, council, the floor is yours. Ask away, whatever kind of questions you may have.
Well, it was me. I suggested that they bring you in because there was a lot of kerfuffle and a lot of misunderstanding about the pedestrian crosswalk that our residents would really like to have installed. I've heard you've been on Queen Street on your motorcycle. I don't know if this is just a horrible rumor. But you know, there are obviously some pedestrian concerns with getting from one side of the street to the other. There have been actually, someone was going through the newspaper and found 2 incidents where children were actually hit by vehicles on Queen Street, because we also have 2 schools on other sides of the road. So, and there's no crosswalk there as well. So one of our big things is one report that came back apparently from you said that the crosswalk would cost about $18,000. And that kind of, we were kind of like, well, where is that cost coming in? And then, so maybe I can start with that, like what all goes into that cost, because that seems like an obscene amount of money for some lines and some signs, or does the county want us to have flashing lights and everything else?
Yeah, so policy is PW 14, so that's pedestrian crossings or hiking trail crossings on county road. So the minimum standard for a crosswalk on a county road, as of today, I'm sure there's all kinds of examples of other things that occurred, but we request that what we require is a crosswalk with flashing lights, right, so that they good pedestrian lines. Yeah, they're around $18,000, and they're installed at the township's cost, and then the county maintains them for that.
Okay, and then I think one of the other questions is, why will the county pay for maintenance but not for installation?
That's just policy, that's the way it's always been. Yeah, because for the county record or county roads, so the roads are built to move goods and services to and from places. So we really have no interest in having people cross the roads.
So the interest is in the safety of the roads itself, not the safety of the people using the roads.
So safety is in the design of the road.
Okay,
Those roads are designed for us, for e-commerce now.
and are there a lot of other communities in Brantford County that have the same situation where they're like a county road going, like our situation where you have like a main street?
So Madawaska Boulevard, Daniel Street, and Basket and Aaron Park. Catawalla Boulevard and Catawalla is the main drag. Which other roads? Yeah, there's numerous county roads.
If I may, Beechford Road would be a similar example.
Yeah.
It goes through the hamlet of Beechford. They
Okay,
went through a similar process whereby the Whitewater region put in a request for the crosswalk and then had the installation done, and now we maintain it.
okay, okay. And there's no way to get it, they just, it has to be, is this like a provincial mandate that it has to have flashing lights or a?
No, this is the county reference
It's a
mandate.
county reference
Yeah.
mandate?
That's the minimum requirement.
Mhm. Mhm.
Can I ask a question?
Please.
Our neighboring municipality has courtesy crosswalk. Can you speak about those?
So those courtesy crosswalks are installed on the connecting link. I think it's an MTO road in the township. So if they were on a county road, we wouldn't allow it.
Okay.
And if you ever use them, you'll actually see a sign that says pedestrians cross at all lanes.
And that
So
road-
That's not that road isn't a county road.
Not a county jurisdiction.
And that road is maintained by that township also,
That's correct.
like snow plowing, sanding, everything. So
There you go. I don't have any questions. I've been through this
Mhm.
numerous times. I thought it was addressed already. So.
Maureen,
Yes,
where did you hear 2 kids got hit in our cruise?
there's articles in, actually Donna Marie Sabelski has been going through the In the Leader. Old
Well, how many years?
newspaper, I don't know how many years ago, but that's,
It's called school.
no, but that's also been an issue, that's been a long-standing issue, the cross between the schools, I mean, you see the kids walking on the road, I mean, it's not always safe, we know this, like, we live in this town,
I
You know,
agree,
you
I
see it.
agree with you, but
yeah,
last council, when we approached about that. We asked the school board, they want us to pay for it,
mhm,
we give them. for it. How much money do we give the school board?
hundreds of thousands.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars,
yeah,
they want us to pay for it. They-
we also
the school-
give the county hundreds of
The
thousands. of
school
dollars.
board, yeah, but school boards are worried about kids' health and safety, but they're not willing to spend any money towards it, so,
Uh-huh,
I don't know. I know people want crosswalks and stuff. I cross the road all the time down here, the Irish Gathering, people are crossing the road. Benny Sale was on this weekend, you cannot get a busier time in Killaloe than that. And on my scanner, I never heard the ambulance coming once for somebody being hit.
yeah,
Yeah,
I realize
people-
it, but.
and with this new restaurant, people are saying, well, it's good. some of the responsibility has to be put on the people as well.
Mhm.
Don't cross where the corner is, walk down the road where you can see both ways and vehicles can see both ways across. the road. I don't know. Like I said before, I thought we put this to rest, we weren't getting crosswalks, and it just keeps coming up and up and up.
No, you're not getting crosswalks. So you haven't decided as a council to pay for crosswalks.
Yeah, yeah, so that's a big thing. And our big thing was we just couldn't figure out where that the dollar amount came from and where this legislation came from. That we had enough flashing lights and where all that is. I think there's also quite, did you find out if you did your petition back? No. Okay, so there's also, would you have the original petition that Lynn provided you with?
I don't have it on me.
But you do have it.
I do have it.
Okay, okay, that was one of our questions.
So basically,
And
Carl?
I have a follow-up, just to Ted's point. The reason that I supported inviting you here was to hear it directly from you. Because this council has heard several different
Yeah.
stories.
Yeah, that's why I brought you guys a policy. And you got
Yeah.
exactly what
I
I.
really appreciate it. I'm sorry that all your colleagues have to come as well. The other thing I'd say,
Thanks, Rob.
the other thing I'd say,
Yes, no,
So-
I appreciate it.
the other thing I'd say is I suggest if you're from Newfoundland, that you need to be Irish. I'll leave that for you. That's
Newfoundlander for me.
just to make a point for the audience that these gentlemen have been brought here based on the council's request, and council will ask them questions. And the gallery is not allowed to ask them questions, just so everyone understands that.
Is the gallery allowed to, is the gallery allowed to accommodate them?
No.
No.
You have to be on the agenda.
Lee, just a couple more things. So the firefighter sign,
Yes.
$42 each, that would cost us, and then you do the evaluation as far as location.
Actually, within reason, if you guys have locations in mind, we'll send out Nathan Kuyak's our technician, just make sure it's not in a sight line issue or blocking another sign or something like that. But yeah, we'll, like, I'm not town court to put up numerous homes, and we just agree to wherever they want.
Okay. Because Ted had mentioned, I think the last meeting or the meeting before, that he's seen a lot of townships now that have
Yes.
implemented this, and it's a good thing
Yes.
because they're very important people to us. So, whoa, now we have hands. Yes, sir.
What happened to our yellow for the speed signs on the
Well,
road?
it's interesting, I just, Chris Taylor with that on the way in, our paint contractor is still, he's still here. So he'll get it done. It was
It's when it snows.
it's gonna snow soon as rain, and you don't have, there's no one praying harder for no snow than me. Let me tell you. But yeah, no, it's a thermoplastic, so it's a permanent paint, right? It's not even paint, it's plastic, so. So it's a special operation to put it down, so normally they leave that stuff till a little later on those seasons.
So at that time, will they do the lines also from the highway through?
I assume.
Because I don't think they did.
Typically, they'll do both while they're in the air.
Okay,
Yeah,
because it seems like that stretch from the highway in, that hasn't been done. So I just assumed that it was going to happen all together. Okay. Brian?
Yeah, my question is regarding the cost of those safety signs for the fire on the county roads, is that always been that the municipality pays for them on county roads?
yeah, we've always started. No, the county installs signs, so as you see speed signs and that sort of thing, but these are over and above our. I hate saying this, but the county provides them to them. So these are things that are extra, so. Yeah, but we do them at cost, right? $42 is basically the little.
So the county puts speed ahead of fire. That's what they.
No. No.
He waved the pen.
I've volunteered for 14 years.
The other question I have is if we produce the signs or if we obtain the signs from elsewhere and we have different kinds of signs. We're currently talking to people about zebra mussels. And it's a big issue around here. If we go ahead and do this, the same type of thing, we'd have to inform you, you would
You're gonna
come.
Put them in the county right away. we would need to know.
You can do the cost of that. then?
Not the installation.
No, that'll be all you. Yeah, just.
It'll be what?
Yeah,
Sorry,
oh, no, if you provide the sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, our guys, on the county road, our guys will put it.
okay,
Yeah, where you just use the general area where you want. Yep. And we can make zero miles of time.
for $42.
Well, if I'm the same size as the green plastic light ones, yeah.
We'll have to talk about that. Does anyone else have any questions?
Oh, see how.
I thought I just addressed, thank you, Mr. Mayor and Council, again, thank you for having us here, I appreciate it. So, just a few things you mentioned off the top with your, this game here, the fire dispatch system. It's a weighted value assessment, that's how it's being divided, so there was a recommendation to West Council last Wednesday, to divide it equally, Council made the final recommendation to divide it up. As per your assessment, I don't have the figures here today, but I'm sure your fire chief will be getting that notification about that very shortly. You haven't received it or received it. And on the roads side of thing, I hope you're encouraged by what we're doing, and we started 2 years ago with the Heard Shoulders. We're starting to see fruits of the labors of our labors, of course, on Round Lake Road this year with after 6 kilometers down, if you're having kilometers done, give or take. And you'll see that roll out. It's now embedded in policy where when we do resurface projects, of any kind, rebuild or resurface, we add that extra 1.5 meters to both sides. So we'll be assessing it on a regular basis, but that's where we're doing that now. And the third piece, of course, is we're rolling out our 2024 plans as we start our budget process. I know Taylor and Lee will be reaching out to Dean to bring them into a meeting. I think it's in October, right? Yes. To get them in our big room, saying here are the plans that the county has, if they're matched or otherwise, to bring them to road super. And hopefully align our projects with yours or yours with ours to take advantage of any shared services or shared tendering. Even if we get down to here the disposal of some of our assets that you may take advantage of some rural machines that may be still worthy of some of life in your township as well. So there is constant communication, I think, between our folks, and happy to do more if we're asked to do so. But we just wanted to bring that up to your council. And again, thank you for your cooperation over the several years we've been working together.
And we are very much in appreciation of what you guys are doing for us. And as a new council, we're very happy that you made to come here today and to share this. I think it's good for our council that we can reach out to the county if we have questions, and the response is outstanding. You're always cordial. And I know you and Dean, your group, are on a great communication basis. So we thank you. And I think I saw him.
Yeah, I just have one comment for Craig there, Russell County, over the extending of the paved shoulders. I drive there around like road all the time in a propane truck, and that's the greatest thing that he's ever did. It's just the bikes on there and the people walking on there, it's great for them.
You're going to the conference now all the time.
Yeah.
I think if memory,
So just so everyone's aware, so that's one other thing that we are working on as a department. We had a request committee to make Simpson Pit Road and Round Lake Road a community safety zone. So with that regulation, that means that speed sponsors go, we wouldn't slow it down now. The issue that we have is community safety zones are usually around schools or showers, for example. So anyways, it makes them, again, our engineering tech is.
yeah, we had passed that resolution for council, if you remember, that the two roads, Simpson Pit Road and this road, County Road 58, will all be inclusive as far as that. So
The county road 58, what portion of it, the whole thing?
all of it,
Yeah, actually from Foy corridor, all the way to 60, and then also Simpson's Pit from 58 all the way to Seymour.
Okay, so just an hour in this house.
Yeah.
Not all the way down.
No,
It's
no,
all.
it's that section.
Good.
The other thing you gotta remember is that is part of, that was part of 62, so it is designed for highway speed. It's unfortunate that was turned into quite a few residents living on the lake.
I think if memory serves me right from the budget, I think it was 2026. The remainder to Foy Park will get the extension and plus redone. if memory serves me.
County council agrees to a nation.
It's on, it's,
Just feel what water is now.
don't build your case.
Maybe if you guys change the rules about crosswalks, then maybe, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
There you go. Yeah, no, it's the same for everyone, so you, like, for example, the Cowboy Eagles nest was a real issue during, and they actually, it's, advanced it to the next, and then they put carbon on afterwards. So we do try to work with our partners, unfortunately, we do. And again, we do minimum.
mhm.
Do you have any questions for us?
Is everyone okay? So those three policies, one is road classification, so that tells you what, like, Round Lake, for example, is based on the collector, that's why we found now. The pedestrian road crossings are there, and then finally is the enhanced traffic warning devices. So one of the things that we've seen is speeding problems without the county. So we do have a trailer now that your speed ahead sign. And again, we can spend some days going that around because we got a list of people, communities that want to use it. Interestingly enough, we do get data from that, so we can download information. We also do traffic counts with hidden boxes there. I mean, they actually tell us what people are really doing. And also with the enhanced traffic devices, similar to paint on road, if the council wants on a county road, if you guys would like to have one of the speed head signs, then we do 50/50. Okay, and again, most paid for on the
Okay.
and one time it used to be really expensive because they had to be hardwired. Now, of course, now it's sort of family. They can go in. And they do work with the traffic calming ones, like, you know, people who speed, and they will draw it to the commission of the road, right, as you're seeing with the people about speed limit.
You did bring up another question. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
You mentioned the traffic counters, and is that also speed
Yes,
speed control?
they also do speed control and are hidden.
Yeah, so that, when you get that data and information, do you then forward it to the OPP or do
We do, we share it with our OPP partners immediately, right? Because when we see an area that's, you know, about 15% off, because again, as you know, like 95 is the speed limit, even though it's written as 80. So we do share all that information with our partners with the OPP.
so what you're saying is you're doing your side?
Yes, we try. And there, like, as Taylor's engineer and there's lots of traffic devices and things out there that can be done, but they're not meant for highways. And you don't put chicanes in highways, you don't put road speed bumps in highways, you don't put, you know, like, there are lots of things, right? But unfortunately, the county roads are designed as highway. And Round Lake Road was a highway, literally.
Dean?
Yeah, so the traffic counter that you put up here in Killoot, I think we were told by Nathan that does not have the data for.
Yeah, that one was weeked out on us. Sorry, yeah, actually, he's actually in the process of getting new ones because get the policy data from the old.
So is that something that you're gonna consider this year to put there or KHR or?
Yeah, we can, I can ask Taylor or ask Nathan where he's on his lips.
Yeah, no, it'd be nice then, just this way we could have
Yeah,
all the data there. Okay.
it's interesting because we did an experiment with a lot of Lansing Drive. So Lansing Drive is perfectly straight with. And now it's grown up into a residential area. And there's a park there and there are a lot of people crossing, and there are no crossing. A lot of them crossing.
Mhm.
So what we did is we put the trailer mounted sign, so people see their speed, and then we put the hidden one down the road front, their ways, right? And we can correlate like how many cars went through the visual, and then the ones that go through the non. And they pick up speed as soon as they leave the traffic. So.
Actually, that was my question also, that the previous counter that we had, something happened and we were not able to obtain
Yes.
the data. And I think you had sort of said that you would put another counter in to redo the data again, but not with the flash, but just the count.
Put that in front of my house on Queen Street,
No,
90% of the people live in Street. I guarantee you. I live there And the worst ones are those black and whites in the house.
And then times, yeah, and that's what our terrible our council do, and I don't want to have a speech on her talent, but. You don't have a speeding problem, you have an enforcement problem,
Yes.
and I'm not, I don't mean to be, blame the OPP because they have problems, the staffing issues and everything as well, right? But we take that as the county rent for now, the reason that we have. It's hard for me to be everywhere.
I think we all understand that and we realize that, but we want to bring you on the carpet.
Yeah.
But the problem is you never see them, ever. You're gonna publish that list for too. You gotta put my name on there too.
Well, if I don't see any more questions, thank you.
Just in reference to the minimum standards, that's based on the Ontario traffic manuals. So those are the standards we do meet and the minimum requirements on. Anything over and above that, as the reference, we would look to add the enhanced warning devices or the pedestrian crosswalks.
And sure enough.
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You good?
I'm good, yeah.
Yeah, and you just not, if anyone in the gallery wants to chat with you, please. I said, anybody who's in the gallery that wants to ask about trusting the word sign.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming. Yeah, that did like clear up a lot of, yeah.
And I'm gonna come out and say, no. We got room to go back.
You couldn't wear your shirt and tie if you came on your motorcycle.
My grandmother came over on the books from me.
May I beg your indulgence for one procedural question, just one. Just one. Do I have your permission? Just one procedural.
I'll ask our CEO.
It's not up to. It's
No, when you read the chair and that's a super bylaw, it says that they have to be in the delegation list.
You have to be on the delegation list.
That's what the question is about. We were here last time, we talked about this, and we had Lynn make a presentation. Was she invited to come back? Was she invited to be on the list to make a presentation so that she would be able to ask questions tonight?
She was on the delegation. She came as a delegation the last time, right?
Was she invited, because it's the same topic, was she invited to come back?
No, I don't
Was she
think so.
notified?
I did tell him, actually, I told him that he was coming.
And you asked me to, oh, you didn't ask me this, it might be good, we need to get a delegation together, that's all. Thank you from you.
Okay, I just said, yeah, just so you could hear firsthand, that's. Yeah.
So it involves talking to Tammy, then calling Tammy, you could, okay, so that's the procedure that.
That's the
We
procedure.
are not aware of, we're learning, which is a lot of great power here. And this is not a kerfuffle, and we're not going away, Teddy Brown.
You don't have to go away. Council's decided already that it's not putting it in, so.
We're not going away.
Bylaw, so if she's gonna keep doing that, she will not be allowed to come to these meetings. She can't talk, it's right in her procedural bylaw. We brought the county in
As on our request.
to discuss with the council, not to discuss with the public, to discuss with council. And then council takes it to the public. So. That's how we get it. So,
And I invited them just so they could hear firsthand, so we could ask those questions that were outstanding. I listened to the last meeting, had the questions. So we could clarify that, and I think that for everybody.
I don't.
The answer is no. in the bylaw.
Usually you can say all she wants, you know, they have their new, well, this is one of the rules for years, years, and years. And years. So,
Okay.
Okey doke. Motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting.
Moved by Maureen McMillan, second by Harold Levine, motion to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting of August 15th, 2023, open and closed session.
All those in favor? Carried. Motion to approve the minutes of the Emergency Management Program Committee.
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Bill Smith, motion to approve the minutes of the Emergency Management Program Committee meeting of August the 29th, 2022, open session.
All those in favor? Carried. We're okay. Bob, you're up next.
All right. The short report, we were. Walked over the sixth of the week, so we were to our regular ones, so what we've got. Since our August 15th reporting, in operations on August 18th, we had fire alarm on the Cleveland Road. On the 22nd of August, we had a CO alarm on Queen Street. August 23rd, we had a motor vehicle collision on Run Lake Road at Guns Road. You can see the picture there, the new parking spot. August 25th, we had a motor vehicle collision on Lake Road, and the reason for that is we have an automatic agreement with Madawaska Valley to support this in the project because we're close to there. Ongoing activities, weekly truck checks, monthly equipment checks, recent events. August 18th, we were doing the dry hydrant project to dredge the pond at the Round Lake Hall. That was a total disaster. It was so muddy that even the high hole was sliding into the pond. It wasn't coming out as dirt, it was coming out as muck. And so we made no headway on that, unfortunately. August the 22nd, I went to the Ottawa to see the fire chief Paul Hutt. He had some gear that he was giving to us, which was a large cutter, a small cutter, medium ram, 4 hoses, and electric power hydraulic units for our extrication capabilities. And it's really upgraded as a generation because before we're dealing with dual hoses, now we only have single hoses. Eventually we'll probably end up with battery power, but we'll see what happens. August 30th, the CNL Visit and Barbecue. CNL is now a new member to the Renfrew County Mutual Aid Association. They are also getting their premises and whatnot set up as a regional training center. Part of that center is the fire training tower that they have. I took a few pictures, but I took here so this report. It's fairly expensive units, about 4 stories. It's all metal inside, interchangeable rooms. They can control the heat, they can control the ventilation. They've got a high pressure control water system in there. So if they need to put something out in quick hurry or whatever, everything is controlled and contained by it on the site, so that it's not polluting any of the local waterways or anything along that line. So it's quite an impressive operation. Let me see upcoming events, and tomorrow we'll be able to chat with it because it's Renfrew County Fire Chief meeting in Pembroke tonight. September 12th, we have our KHR bi-monthly meeting. September 23rd, we're providing support to the Waters Festival. November 28th, another bi-monthly meeting. And December 6th will be our last quarter fire chiefs meeting. Excuse me. Fire prevention right now is a monthly newspaper ad, scheduled training. They're doing a live scenario at McClement tonight. And next week, we're doing smokehouse at Ambroses Farmhouse on Mass Road. We haven't checked out the left out the training specifics for the rest of the year yet. On the CEMC side, as already mentioned earlier, so the minutes were approved. We had the Protection and Emergency Management Program Committee meeting. on August 29th. And what are we doing with the ENR regulating the bylaw? We're going to discuss it now, finding out later.
Look at it. Only bylaw.
Yeah, there's nothing in there on, he said. The only place it was found was in the job description for the firefighter, for the one on web, still use it. So we can proceed, go ahead from that perspective, like, want to hold on.
No, there's nothing in here, I decided.
Yeah, you got both pages of must be reading then.
So the other question for Tammy, if it's in the job description. Does that, how do we have to enforce it?
I just remove it.
Remove it?
As a HR committee, we would have to meet and discuss that with the HR committee. And then full council would have to decide whether or not they wanted that removed from the job description. I'm really put on the spot here because I really just was given the memo. I didn't really know that it was going to be.
Oh, that's right, you weren't here.
I wasn't here.
She wasn't here.
Yeah, so I think that that's what we would do,
Yeah.
but I think your committee would have to look at it first. And decide what changes are needed, and then it would go through the human resources and full council.
So, or, can I interrupt for a minute? So would it have to go through Ted's committee or policy and procedure first?
No,
Fire first
fire, because
Fire
it's
first.
starting with fire.
and then to HR? Okay,
In terms of the job description.
Combination meeting with both committees there.
Yeah.
It's all done.
Yep.
it'd be just a one item, well, one document item meeting. Can we look at our calendars and do this right now?
Why don't we do that before our next meeting or do it before?
I think we should look at our calendars right now and let's look at our calendars and do that right now. Sorry to hold you up, Dean. Oh, okay.
Very long.
No.
If we can come in at 6:30 on the 11th before our finance. Everybody's coming in anyways,
Can you make it, Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah.
instead of coming in the second month.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
If I appreciate it if you didn't come in for that, just in case we had any other questions. So 6:30 next Monday night.
So everyone has received that bylaw. Please look it through. And any questions we can have answered at that time.
People that are on my committee. It has to do with firefighters having these hours. So,
Yeah.
Yes, I have a couple questions. I had a couple of businesses ask me about a letter they received from Community Safety Net, Kilboo Haggerty Richards Project, and they were to send a check to Main Street in Winnipeg.
Yes,
You're okay with all that? Did we know that?
I had checked with a couple of other fire chiefs on this program, specifically one in Montreal Valley. They've been using the service for years, which gives us a lot of free publications. Based on how much support there is that we can hand out to schools or the residents of the township, et cetera. It's above board, it's legal and all that other stuff.
A couple of concerns were that they weren't, number one, I don't think I or anyone else around the table knew that was happening. And number two, when you send a check to Winnipeg, that makes you ask a question, even though our name is on it, but you're sending the check to Winnipeg. So people weren't sure if this is a scam or. And the whole presentation in the letter was sort of fishy.
Okay, the individual is running as an OPP officer here in Delaware before. He's living out west now and continuing the program.
Okay. So it's all legit.
Yes,
And are we, so council is aware that this is going on for his safety projects, like when he goes. No, they're approaching businesses, that's all. Okay,
business to get there. And there,
so like it's a,
support and whatnot. We've got the flag on the publication on the front. It looks like we've actually produced it, but it is
right,
generally engineered produced product.
like it's a brochure, like Bob's report type thing. So just so everyone's aware of that, that's going on. I had some time to think on the weekend. At one time, the fire department had revenue opportunities, like selling tickets for the Ducky race, and then COVID happened. And then it was Chris that did it through computerized. Okay. Do you have any inkling that your group may want to go back to that?
You know, we've been talking about it. There's the volunteerism seems to have very well dried up. In fact, I think out the trailer last weekend, I said to Chris, I've got some ducky cutouts and some spaghetti, water spaghetti and they put on the ropes to tie it off. And we're gonna be meeting probably at the bi-monthly meeting to see what they want to do with the ducks, and we'll get them to Chris if that's what they're so inclined. We couldn't get volunteers for it. You can get one or two sometimes for an event, but it's not there.
Okay. And the other one I had in my mind was at one time, there was always a collection at Canada Day, the fireworks. That's another one. Same issue, volunteers. Okay.
Now, some of the issue I know we've dealt with in the past is that we do not have, as a firefighters association, a license like a lottery license. Okay, and historically, it's very expensive to get one, to get it set up, et cetera, et cetera. And we cannot seem to be able to be insured under the township plans that are in place. And without the insurance, some of these activities just can't go forward.
Because I know that those monies used to be used for certain things, like special things that you may wanted to purchase, that type of thing. But you are having one this year. The beef, right?
But that's just a straight draw, yes. Okay, I think they did guns last year. But if they're doing things like the mud run, things like that, then we need some liability insurance. Issues could happen.
Yeah.
And that would have to be under the township, because they, you know, there's not that big of money making size. And I don't know if that's proper or not, but I understand that it does occur in many other townships.
I just want to give you the opportunity to make money, you know, like if it's there, let's capitalize on it. But again, if you don't have the volunteers.
Two of your firemen approached me at party in the park about doing the barbecue again. And they wanted me to come and help with them. Is that something that's going to go through, or was that just talk?
And this is from where?
From party in the park. We had a car show.
Yes.
You had your two firemen down there.
Yes.
Well, they approached me about doing the barbecue again, but all the complaints we had. About no hot dogs or hamburgers, not there, and they come up to me and pretty well said that. I was willing to help them out, if willing to help us out, which I would be more than willing to, whatever the donation was and the money was made, would go to the firemen, to a fund, to purchase them.
Sure.
Is that something that just talk or?
No. Let's face it, if you're looking at the ducky run, one of the things that was a problem, I needed about 8 guys on the bridge to, concurrently control the ducks in the water. You need truck drivers to put things out. It's the same thing. If we're doing Canada Day, I need a minimum of 6 just to do the ticket taking, let alone those doing the fireworks, and then fireworks at both locations, fire trucks around. All of a sudden, you're up to 9 or 12 people to put the show on. come up with a couple of people, 3, 4 people for.
That's all it would take.
Yeah, precise and that, yeah, well, we had the 3 of us there, set up into the car.
Because I was more than willing to pick up all the stuff, do all the stuff.
Sure.
And whatever money was made was go to that. Any donation, there's always a donation. And so that's what there was $310 for recreation. Park.
We get 3 or 4 people, if I need more than that, stuff to go. It's unfortunate, but that's the reality of where we're at.
No, I know, and I'm going through the same, but COVID killed volunteers. So.
Yeah.
And that's
And
that part of it.
It's tough to recoup those volunteers.
You find the same problem, Ted?
Yeah, same people what to do with it.
Yeah.
And it was like that before COVID. I was on the fire department here, which is you guys and everything. I'm still a team when they do.
Bill, you had a question?
Yeah, I recall a few meetings ago, we were talking about the fire signs on the roadside.
Yeah.
And you said at that time that there were 2 that hadn't been installed yet, but you didn't give a reason. I wondered if those, if there's any time for that was installed.
Yes. They still are outstanding. First putting them in, I don't know why they haven't got the in like a year and a half or more. There's the one at Willow and there's the one right at the fire hall in Philip. Otherwise, I think there's 11 signs up now.
So there's still.
Yeah, it's just coming and going. But those 2 still are needed. These signs are made, they just haven't been installed.
Okay, so there's not a plan right now to have them installed.
Yes, the plan is to get it installed. They haven't been installed.
Okay. I'll ask again next meeting.
Anyone else have any questions for Bob? We're good? Thank you.
Thank you.
Dean?
I just want to give a summer student, these are the written developments that is happening first. We're cutting grass and all that, work and stuff. Had a lot of good comments on them, saying that we did a really good job and there are a lot of things and how to work out what each one of these women to do. The regular road maintenance, continued grass cutting, full patching, grading, etc. The tractor has been repaired and we have been directing the side of the road, so we doing a property lines kind of thing. We've been doing some ditching on Mountain View Road.
Looks good right there.
Which road?
Oh, yeah, looks good.
Yeah. We're gonna be doing a little bit more up there than we can. Tomorrow we'll be installing the culvert on King Street. The culvert got dropped off today, so it'll be installed hopefully tomorrow if everything works well. So in the next few weeks, we'll be making sure as well as all our plow trucks and blades will be up to par for the winter. We gotta be prepared, so we're gonna be doing that. Should start today, but we're gonna get the trucks and the blades and everything all up to par. Other than that, just waste management report. I guess our RFP for the C&D to open, and that's it for my report.
Yeah. Okay. Request for proposal number 2023 CDW. Construction, demolition and bulky waste processing services. There were 2 RFPs were received. The first one was from National Grinding of Renfrew for a lump sum for C&D and bulky waste, couches, chairs, and mattresses in the amount of $23,000 with additional quantities of waste at $20 per M3. And the second RFP was received from 1499545 Ontario Inc. of Sudbury for a lump sum for C&D and bulky waste, couches, chairs, and mattresses in the amount of $40,000 with additional quantities of waste at $41.88 per. The RFPs will be reviewed by the Public Works Superintendent and Greenview Environmental to ensure the RFPs are complete, and then a decision will be made as to who the contract will be awarded to. Okay.
So it was 22,000 and a half a grand, 20 cubic meter,
23,000 plus $20 per,
cubic meters after, yeah, okay.
and then
asking-
40,000
Yep.
and 41.88 per.
Thank you.
We're good?
Carl has something.
Oh, sorry.
James Street there, you know, coming behind the store up around that corner. Yep. Seeing you got your tractor, but you come around that corner, you can't see up the hill and it's blowing so bad. If you get the tractor. James Street. You know, past the store and there, and that's where it's always the ditch there. Oh, you're like River Street, yeah. Okay, that's really, wow, River James. Yeah, okay. Right on the corner there, it's. Yeah. It's out around Lake Green now, but yeah, I can whatever, yeah. And that corner coming up from the store. There's a dead spruce there and then a fusion coming on that corner too. That's the store and then the first corner, you know? Yep. Okay. That's. Yeah. That's on the township property, that was actually. I'll take a peek at it. Sure. Thank you.
Harold?
And one thing, on the corner of River Lake Road and Albert Street.
Yep.
The blue sign, Round Lake Rec Center. Either it got knocked off last night, the whole post. Half it was on the road this morning when I was coming with bottles. I don't know if it's county or if it's township.
What is it, the Round Lake Rec Center?
So it's right on the corner when you come in, say from the school. It's right on the corner there on a 4x4. Okay. It's just well, I guess 3 feet by 12. Just on both sides, Round Lake Rec Center pointing down. I stood it up against another post down there this afternoon. Need to post. Yeah. It has been bad for a while. It's been loose. I mean, you put a sign up on it, it's so shaky, so.
Shaky post.
Speeding so fast. Well, that's when you let.
Anybody, anything else for Dean? Thanks very much for coming in during your holidays. You're back?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were still on holidays.
No, he's not Teddy Brown, that's right.
That's right.
No, yeah, that's right.
Okay, Tammy.
Okay, so I just have a couple of things. So I just want to let council know that our auditor called today. And he's expected to be in the office to perform our annual procedural audit on September the 26th, 27th, and the 28th. So this procedural audit, as every procedural audit, is designed to test the processes in place to make sure that they are working as designed. While performing this audit, the township auditor will review the invoices to make sure they're getting posted correctly. We'll review the bank reconciliation, property taxes, and utility reconciliations to ensure correctness, and that they are being processed on time each month. They will review payroll to ensure it's being processed and being posted correctly, and that the remittances regarding payroll are also reconciled correctly and on time each month. He will review the capital projects with Public Works Superintendent Holly. He will review the GL accounts to ensure that their balances are in line with the budget. And once complete, the auditor and myself will review the provisional budget to ensure that the costs are in line again with the approved numbers. So that will take place over those 3 days. He may come in a little bit earlier to start on capital. But the 26th, the 27th, and the 28th will be our procedural audit.
Good.
Then at your desk, Deputy CAO Clerk Treasurer Charlene had given you the memo about the fire, the bylaw and the memo. And I just have 2 items for committee, and that's my report.
Hey, correspondence. Well, the very first item on correspondence is a letter from Minister Steve Clark, which is no longer minister. So, as I mentioned in my opening address, affordable, attainable housing is a very high priority. It's the conversation at every level of government. I think during that week, those 4 days that I was in London, the thing I left with was, we're only get 10% of the money of whatever he has said that he's going to give to the province. Small rural communities are only going to get 10% of that money. So the feeling that I had was, in order to get any of that money, we definitely have to think out of the box. We can't follow other people or other things. We have to come up with our own thing, and we have to think out of the box for solutions. And I think if I can pass on a theme or a thought from those 3 days of meetings, that's what I'd like to pass on to. So anybody else have any questions about affordable housing? Yep. Iranian academics. The beaches at Pinecone Park.
Oh, yes. Many times. Well, there's something, so.
Yeah.
So I can respond. I have been in talk with Sean Cameron. And I can advise them that an amendment can be submitted to request a change to the drawdown. The cost and information to support the request would be covered by the person making the submission. I don't know what the cost is, but I can ask Sean. I could provide that in the email as well as I can provide a link to the report that's on RPG's website. I did that already for the Round Lake Property Owners Association this morning. And there's also a report that was provided for us from BOFIN a while ago for the public. So I have that, and I provided that as well. So I can do that as well for this couple and advise them of that if council wants me to.
Because I know at a previous council meeting, we had discussed that actually when Sean was here, and about some concerns of residents that it was too early to bring the drawdown. So we have talked about this before, so it's not something brand new.
What would that involve? That would be a request from Pinecone Park or whoever. Doesn't mean it would be changed. So what do you call that? Is it just a proposal? Or?
Yeah, it's an amendment. So it's submitting a request for an amendment to the drawdown to the Bonisher River Water Management Plan
At their cost.
at their cost.
I'm not saying anything would be done. Does it be up to who? Red Hook Hydro, would they all be involved in that decision now?
Anybody who it was involved with.
Stakeholders?
Yeah.
Good, thank you.
But that would be done on a provincial level, right? Not at a municipal level.
That would be done as part of the Bonisher River Water Management Committee, whoever is on that committee. So RPG.
So it would be
is heading
RPG.
that now.
Or
That are involved, right?
everybody that was involved with it.
Because we've spent quite a pile of money to get this in place, and there's a lot of people that have commented to me that it's been working well the last couple of years. And yes, I know this is probably I'll say second one, because, you have an issue with it, and so you're gonna get both sides, like every other issue.
Yeah, it's better than what was the last 2 years or 3 years ago. In the Gold Lake, you couldn't see one island. It's better to have it this way than anybody who wanted out in spring.
So you're going to send that one. No, she's gonna go ahead with the letter.
Oh, them all.
Okay, the next one is OV Boss Babes. And the next one is letter / petition from Kate Merton.
So that petition there again is what Mr. Perkins was talking about in regards to the speeding on Round Lake Road. The road is classified as, has a certain classification, chances of them lowering the speed. It's a highway. It's the old Highway 62. In order to to put slower speed signs down, there would have to be a school or a community center of some sort somewhere around that vicinity where the speed would be lowered. But he did say that council could support this petition, and if that was the case, a resolution would have to be passed. It would go to the county. They would put a speed counter up, and they would do the same thing. They would share the information with the OPP for enforcement purposes.
I get the speeding and stuff, but the problem is if we support,
Dean, can you let I think we can say it's coming. Can you let him in? Like he walked out. He's waving over there.
we
Go
gotta
ahead,
be
Ted.
careful, because if we say, let's get out of community zone. These people are going, the next thing you know, every road in the township's going to be community safe zone, so.
The request,
The section of road they're talking about would be in that community. zone
Yeah.
as is now.
we've done a resolution already for that. Just going back from memory, help me if I'm from Simpson Pit Road. From the highway, we've done the two biggest roads in its entirety. We haven't missed a step. So like in town, on the way out of town, and Simpson Pit Road, we did the whole thing.
But this is all really it's in that's all that.
Right. So like that's currently in the works. So right now we're waiting until this, like we put that resolution forward. That's where we're at. We're just. And you can mention again, as he said, that when the signs go up, the OPP gets told and the fines double in that area. And again, as he said, it's based on enforcement, and we know what that.
So that's what we're doing, is we're putting the community.
Safety zone.
Safety zone signs in, and that's going to change the speed fines. And then basically up to
The OPP for enforcement.
for the enforcement, and the county is not going to even consider changing the speed limits.
Because I think the other thing he said, I'm sure everyone picked up on, was that it's a highway.
The highway and the speed limit.
Is that right, Dean? No matter what we,
What I think is gonna do is the cost speeding is double the fine. That's
it's
like smart some of them up.
it's prevention.
Yeah.
But to change the sign, I know one time they changed it, I think from the Monteshire store. Almost into around late to 60. And I don't know if it lasted 2 months. It's 60 kilometers an hour on that part of highway is.
I know we had gotten a previous, you guys might remember a few years back, where they wanted it to stop from the bridge in Round Lake all the way up past one to drop the fifth. They go ridiculous, yeah. And then we get, make sure there'll be different cars behind.
Might be patches.
And buses. Does anyone else have anything to say on this one? Yeah. So you're okay, Tam? Letter from the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. AMO policy update.
There's plenty of diversity.
That has to do, is that the one
The
with
dead stock.
the dead stuff?
Yeah.
I don't believe, Dean, we accept any dead stuff in our waste sites, so it doesn't apply to us. Yep.
Um, Letter from the Round Lake Properties Association. Brian, do you want to speak on that? Not sure if you looked at the details.
Signs?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, so we had the meeting with the Round Lake property owners, Dave and myself. And we discussed getting signs. And also putting the signs that, not only the billboard ones, but upgrading the ones that are at the docks, because they're so small, they were probably this. We have to walk right up to the, so we talked about that. Something bigger that's easier to read. Before people get the boat in water, which is already too late, before deeper ones, it's too late then.
And during our meeting, we had talked with three representatives from the association, and we had told them of our interest as a council, that we were behind this. We think it's a very worthwhile venture. And at that time, we sort of, when we had left it, we were, let's look at the design of the sign and check out our two sign makers in town. And then within a day, we received these pictures of the signs. So having said that, we haven't discussed anything as far as cost or anything like that, of how much each sign would cost, but they seem to be totally on side with us to help with the cost. Like, everyone's on board with this project. It's a serious matter. Again, it's a preventional type of situation. We know people, if they're going to do it, they're going to bring the muscles in, but we're encouraging them to do what's right. So
If I can just add, the group was the two of us, and Stan and Scott. And
Suzanne,
yes. So they talked about applying for this grant to which is fairly expensive. Large amount of money, which they apply for, and their thoughts are getting machines that are used to spray off roads at it can be one put at Golden Lake and one put at Round Lake at the main docks. And to me, it looked like a very worthwhile project. They're the ones that were heavily involved in getting that. I think they have until, was it the end of September?
I think so. It was well over $1 million in grant money that could have been available. And they estimated it was around 500,000 to put the two machines in, one in Round Lake, one in Golden Lake. And
so I haven't heard any more back from that, but they did have done a lot of work on it, and I fully agree with their process and what they were doing. I think it was good.
So I think probably the question that I want to present to council is that we have pictures of these signs. A lot of municipalities are using these signs. If you want to continue and use these signs, which is great, we have not asked for a cost estimate of these signs. So do you want Brian and I to go forward and ask them how much these signs are going to cost? And we can bring that back to council to see if council wants to pursue this. Until we know the costs. Well, muscles are almost done. Because the bolts are coming out.
Basically, the next year.
Yeah.
Is the association going in on the signs or not?
Oh, yes,
Because
They're definitely on side, Carl.
yeah. And absolutely, they'll be partnering with us. And if they get that grant, a lot of that money, they're going to be that grant too. That's just the one thing that the change, but it's all going to be put towards science.
Yeah.
This was my understanding.
So is council okay with Brian and I continue with this? Guys? Okay, Brian? Thank you. Information, County of Renfrew. The details. I just pass that along for you for your information. Renfrew County Regional Science and Technology Fair.
So they're looking for a donation. I'd have to look back in the records, but I'm not sure if we have.
I don't recall that name ever coming up before. Certainly, we didn't budget for it this year.
Good project, but you send it to us earlier.
This is for the 2024, so I could bring it back at budget time if that's the case. I don't know, I can't remember if there's a due date to it, but it is for the 2024 fair.
Okay, so we should look at that at budget time.
I don't see a date on here, Tammy. Anybody see a date?
2024 fair.
Yeah, yeah. But when is the fair? I don't see an actual
April
date.
6th.
Okay. So we'll bring that back. What's the bylaw 36? Do I have that here? Bylaw 36.
It was in the package. I had the original.
Look at. Oh, here, never mind, I got it. That's you.
Right.
Can I have can I have the motion for bylaw 36-2023? Oh.
I have a. From our two bills.
We did that one.
We did.
Yeah.
Is that the one, the Iranian one? Yeah, we did that. Can I have the motion for bylaw 36-2023?
Moved by Harold Levine, second by Maureen McMillan, that bylaw number 36/2023 being a bylaw to authorize the CAO clerk treasurer to sign a lease agreement with Ford Credit for the municipal corporation of the township of Hillary Haggerty Richards at its regular meeting held on September 5th, 2023, be given its first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 5th day of September 2023.
Questions or concerns? All those in favor? Carried. Is there any unfinished business? Is there any new business?
Just one comment, music in the park, Friday night, the crowd was unbelievable.
That's awesome. And that was the McLean sisters. Awesome.
That was good.
Local group. Any new business? Or that was your new business?
Yeah,
Oh. Here,
I just want to know if you need authorization to go to the trees, the loggers yet? Off the tree. Where they were not. If you guys were going to do it.
Oh, yeah, no, we can do it.
Also, I had a call this evening. He's from Sandy, he's in the hospital.
Oh, no.
He's had phone calls, people wanting to know why their money hasn't been, donations haven't been picked up. He's already collected over $6,000 and he's getting people calling him because he used to do it all before. Why the donations haven't been picked up yet. Getting close.
Okay. See, I know that Christmas from your student was helping, do a lot of things. And he's on here, so that's probably got left with him, and I don't know about, so I'll contact him.
Yeah, because they're only gonna hold on to it for so long and it won't be there.
Yeah. He's away right now? Away?
But he will be checking his email. so that
Okay,
we-
I'll tell family, if we can talk to family, I'll let
I
them.
go to work, you can just sit there for the night, at least the night.
Okay, I'll send Chris a message and see when I can reach out.
Yes, most likely Harold next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't, about that. Just wanted to know, sir, property downtown here.
We received the assessment back, but there was some wrong information in it, so they have to correct it. And once it's corrected, it will be for council for their review. And then we move forward from there.
is there a time frame on that? Is that tape recorder still on?
I can live.
Okay, any other new business? Okay, motion to enter into committee of the whole.
If I-
You're talking about the fundraising for the fire department. Bunker Valley and Purple, when you do the firefighter do that boot toll.
Oh, on the street?
It's crazy enough in Bunker Valley, I know that's just a suggestion support.
I know with the COVID situation, a lot of the things were stopped, like those things, the ducky race and everything else was canceled, so. I just, if he wants to bring them back,
Yeah.
that's a great idea.
Thanks.
Thank you.
We can bring that back, can't we? To Bob when he comes back?
What's that, sorry?
We can bring that to Bob when he comes back.
We can, yeah. Moved by Ted Brown, second by Maureen McMillan. Be it resolved that council move into a closed meeting pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act 2001 as amended for the following reasons. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, litigation or potential litigation, including matters before administrative tribunals affecting the municipality or local board, advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege, including communications necessary for that purpose.
All those in favor? Carried.
Okay,